Any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. Any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. They gave leadership to our foreparents, and that leadership made them slaves. But we have decided to find a leadership of our own to make ourselves free men. Our great scholars have advanced through the colleges and universities, have thrown away the blessed record. Babylon did it. Assyria did it. France under Napoleon did it. Germany under Prince von Bismarck did it. England under America under George Washington did it. Africa with 400 million black people can do it. If you cannot do it, if you are not prepared to do it, then you will die. You raise a coward, you raise an imbecile, you raise a good for nothing. If you cannot do what other men have done, what other nations have done, what other races have done, then you have to die.
Hotep, Hotep, Hotep. Hotep's not tense enough. Peace be unto you, brothers and sisters. All seed answer light, but the color is different. The plant reveals what is in the seed. Know thyself, and thou shalt know the Neteru. Before Amun, the greatest one, who though hidden from us is a source of all life, prosperity, and health, let us unite in peace. Heeding the call of our ancestors, let the African spirit unite us as we attempt to continue the struggle, confident that we will conquer. Avitora Iserta. A luta continua, Avitora Iserta. Victory certain. Good morning to you. It's Sunday, January 25, 2015. You're inside of the Africa Forum, Running African. Good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Talia. Walk good. My name is Kabu Ma'at Keru. My broadcast assistant this morning is Shamara Preston. We go through until 10 o'clock. That is when the big A comes in with the Sunday sunshine. Good morning to you. Welcome to the Pan-African space, the African-centered space. Welcome to the Africa Forum. We're Africans, not because we were born in Africa, but because Africa was born in us. We are Africans. Good morning to you, my African brothers and sisters. Hotep. Thank you for joining us on the 107.1, all the way to 107.9. Good morning, and welcome to the African-centered space. Good morning to you on the internet at IRIFM.net. Thank you so much for choosing IRIFM. Good morning if you're joining us on your Android apps, your BlackBerry and your iPhone apps. Good morning to you on the continent of Africa. If you're joining us from Europe, welcome. From North America, welcome. So good to have you in the African-centered space. It's a global space. It's a virtual space. Of course, it's all Africa. Thank you so much. Good morning to you, my African sisters. Only the black woman can say when and where I enter in the quiet, undisputed dignity of my womanhood, without violence and without suing or special patronage. Then and there, the whole race, the entire race, all the race, African race, enters with me. Good morning to you, my African brothers. Good morning to you, to the family. Morning, thank you so much as we continue to break the cycle of mental control. He who holds the land holds the power. Thank you so much for joining us. Understanding that as we go through another week, look around you and ask yourselves, who own the land? He who owns the land owns the power. Breaking the cycle of mental control. Uncle Johnson, life, prosperity, health to you. In the Minetaru, good morning. Tanastalin, greetings. Jambo Wati, how are you doing? It's an African-centered space, so we mix it up as we go along. Bringing into the space all the languages, all the languages of Africa, and just throwing them into the space. After all, we are a people in exile, a people taken from our land, from our people, from our languages. And so we bring them all. Quick update on what's happening with Winnifred Beach. As you know, Winnifred Beach registered a minor success, a minor win in the fight for Winnifred Beach. The people of Portland, the people of Jamaica registered a minor success, and we are expecting to hear from Carla Gulato and Cynthia Miller in a short while. A quick update on that also. All right, there's going to be here, to Rios, I think here in St. Anne, there's going to be a discussion forum on what is entitled Chick Viva Legacy, a free event as a platform for the open discussion on the long-term effects of chikungunya, the chikungunya virus. And this is going to be at Lion House, Brednut Hill. Today, later on today, we want to speak with Mama Aura quickly about that this morning. I know you might be one of those persons who are still experiencing after having Chick V when, months and months and months ago, experiencing what they're calling a relapse. We have to look into that word. There's something about that word that's not right in terms of describing what's happening to people. And there's so many persons who are feeling all kinds of lingering effects. Still can't walk, still having joint pains, still all bent up, as the name of the disease itself suggests, chikungunya, meaning the bent disease. So we're going to be speaking with Mama Aura, and also she's going to be telling us about those persons who will be involved in the discussion forum later on today. Sister Jackie Roots launching and opening officially, because I think she's already operating, Asin Manso, a local opening here in Jamaica. Asin Manso is a village in Ghana where Nana Esiboa is Queen Mother. The village in Ghana where historically Africans who were captured and enslaved and taken through the journey to the ocean would pass through Asin Manso, being forced to go to the dungeons of Cape Coast and Elmina, and this is where they would have their last wash, their last bath, before heading into the dungeons of Cape Coast and Elmina. And Nana Isaboa, Sister Minnie, is Queen Mother in Asin Manso. In Asin Manso, the reburial of the African woman remains found here in Jamaica. Remember, in 1998, the reburial took place in Ghana. We were there for that. We covered that. Well, here on the ground in Jamaica, in Trelawney, Sister Jackie Roots is renaming an area of Trelawney. She'll tell us more about that when she comes on. As in Manson, the local opening is happening on February 1. She'll join me on the phone lines to talk about that. Going to be looking at the African Cup of Nations. Roger Hasford joins me later on to talk about that. And from the reporter's desk, my colleague Patrice Walters of the newsroom, will be joining me in the studio this morning. She has been doing a brilliant work of focusing and looking at the issues relating to China, the Roaring River property, heritage sites of the North Coast Highway. She's been talking to the principals in that and will be joining me in the studios this morning to kind of bring us up to date on that. And tell us a little bit about the background work that she's been doing, some of the responses that she's been getting, and just to give us an idea of what is unfolding. You might have been hearing her stories on IRFM newscasts across IRFM. She joined me in the studio this morning, senior reporter in the newsroom, Patrice Waters, from the reporter's desk. We're going to be looking ahead to the Black History Month programming also. We'll tell you about that later on in the program. In the bottom line this morning, I argue that China's deployment of some 700 infantry battalion armed to the teeth on the ground in Africa is an indication of what it will eventually do in Jamaica. Join me for the bottom line this morning. So we've got that and more. We're also going to be taking your tweets, taking your texts, taking your emails, taking your Facebook posts and so on as we go to the social media this morning. So lots and lots to come inside of the Africa Forum. Peace be unto you, brothers and sisters. In the Medjugorje, it's Hotep, Sanut and Sanu. Government is going about pretending to decriminalize ganja, and for those who are up in arms, just so happy about the debate that's happening in Parliament and the fact that the bill is being tabled and so on, that questions must be asked about what exactly is being done. What does this mean? How does this impact what's already obtained? Because that's another question we have to ask. And what in heaven's name is being done? Let us ask ourselves that before we become too happy about what the government seem to be doing. Appearances of the mind or of forekind. Remember that. Things can appear to be, and yet they are not. And I think this is one of the things that appears to be, but is not. The extent to which then maybe you need to stop and think about what is being done. Because it seems to me as though it is falling short, way short of what should actually be done. So let's look at that again. You know, every time I make these statements about ganja, I have to do a disclaimer because people think I'm talking like this because I either smoke it, drink it, eat it, or something. And I just like to say, only thing I use it to do is to put it on a little white rum or so on and drink it for any ailment. Outside of that, I don't smoke it. I don't eat it in cake or anything. I don't nothing with it at all. So, you know, I have to make that disclaimer because I'm talking purely from a perspective of someone who has for the very longest time looked on the criminalization of a plant as one of the most vicious things, one of the most unjust things to have happened in this part of the world. We see how young men have been criminalized just because. So many have died just because of the plant. So many have lost their entire future young boys in particular in Jamaica just because of a plant. And yet there are other plants that people are smoking in crazy amounts that are more dangerous than any other. More dangerous than any other. And we don't see anybody being criminalized for it. We're talking about tobacco too. And we're talking about other stuff that derive from plants. You know? So that by the way, today is being celebrated as Luanda's Day in Angola. Founded is an interesting thing, but Portuguese explorers turned up there on January 25, 1576. And Luanda is ranked as the world's most expensive city for expatriates, according to Mercer's 2014 Cost of Living Index. Luanda's population is approximately 6 million. Angola is a wealthy country based on its oil production capacity. We've been talking about China's Angola model in this forum. Angola also has diamonds and other minerals, along with one of the things that causes Luanda's Angola to be such a wealthy country is its diamonds and other minerals, and Chinese, European and American investment is regarded as a positive by many. In Angola, we're not so sure about that, and I don't know that investment is even the right term. We're using it very loosely here. We hear about a win for Angola and a win-win win for China, for example, on the Angola model. But things are falling apart quickly, especially with the drop in oil prices. We'll keep an eye on that. There is inequitable distribution of wealth, and it leaves a high percentage of black Angolans in poverty, even as we talk about Luanda Day today. Africa's richest woman is said to be the daughter of President Eduardo dos Santos, Isabel. You know, these daughters, the daughters of the African presidents, and especially in countries where there's oil, and where there are high levels of minerals, diamonds, and so on, that we found the daughters. You look around at the daughters of these presidents, and you'll be ashamed and embarrassed to call yourself woman. It is what it is. Because where the black woman enters in Africa, in terms of where she finds herself in the time and space, it doesn't necessarily mean, I'm talking about these daughters, doesn't necessarily mean that the entire race enters with them. As a matter of fact, the entire race is expected to be their servants. And it is really a crying shame. We saw that in relation, in a way, we saw that in relation to Good Works International. Let's call a spade a spade. And Guinea. Moving right along. Before Amon, the greatest one who's hidden from us, the source of all life, prosperity, and health, let us unite in peace. Let us see the call of our ancestors, and let the African spirit unite us as we continue the struggle. Confident, more or less ineffective against germs. So many of the antibiotics are ineffective against the germs, and UTIs could lead to kidney infection and death. This is why this is so serious. We must ask questions. Begin to ask questions. Ask questions of your healthcare professionals. Ask questions at your clinics. Ask questions of your doctors. Ask questions around you. Because it is what it is, you know. It is what pertains right now. It's what obtains right now. So that if we do not pay some attention to this, we could find ourselves in some trouble. Some strains of gonorrhea, we've already talked about this, are already showing resistance to third-generation antibiotics and are therefore untreatable. Being an STI, this puts large numbers of persons at potential risk it is what it is. A lot of we've been talking about antibiotics and gonorrhea since 2012 because this is a disease that is transferred through sex, and it is a very common one. And if it's now developing resistance at the level, the bacteria is now developing resistance to antibiotics at the level that we hear is developing resistance, then really we should be asking some questions. We cannot afford to ignore this. We cannot afford to ignore this. It is coming. How we deal with it? Are we ready? Are we prepared? What should we know? What should you know about the use of antibiotics? We were talking about that last week, so I hope you caught into a lot of what your own responsibilities are. Where we are. Sister Jackie Woods, good morning.
Blessed good morning, my darling.
Hotep, my sister, how are you?
Yes, Hotep, Jambo, greetings and enough love, Jamaica. I am happy.
All right. I know that you, we've been talking about Africanizing the spaces where we are, Sister Jackie Rubitz, and I see that you're taking that in hand and doing that in a very, very serious way. And when we talk about bringing Asin Manso to Jamaica, this is really brilliant, what you're doing. Talk to us about that, because you are on a property in Trelawney. Where is that property?
Okay, it is Rio Bueno rest stop. It used to be a rest stop where buses flying Kingston and Pico Bay, they used to stop to use restroom. Mm-hmm. So most people know where that is. It's just outside of Rio Bueno.
Right, and not just a restroom, but you could also stop and get books and little gifts and refreshment and so on. Yes, yes.
I'd like to revitalize that part of it where we can generate some income. Mm-hmm. But all in all, it's a proper home for my children. There's a lot of space.
Yes.
And like I said, there is so much to be thankful for.
Okay. So this is where you are located right now.
Yeah, I am relocated. My children are here with me. Mm-hmm. The place is not 100%, but it's adequate. Mm-hmm. You know, and I just like to use this forum to say thank you to Tankwell, because they're the ones who actually approached the UDC.
Yes.
And made me get this place, yes. So,
all right. And then when our listeners who don't know much about, for those persons who are new to the program, when you say this is a space for my children, we're talking to a sister here who has over the years been the mother for hundreds of children have passed through her home, and these are disadvantaged children with disabilities and so on, who you've taken into your home, into your space, and have created a home for them. And so now you're saying Tankwell approaching the UDC, they have provided this space.
And the reason for this is that the government prior to this one gave me a badge of honor for meritorious service to needy children.
Yes.
So I thought I was doing something good and it was okay. Mm-hmm. So I enjoyed doing what I was doing until this government now. Something happened in some children's home somewhere, and they are clamping down on all children's home. I did not intend to run a children's home. It's my home and my children.
Yes.
But because of the amount of children, they label it a children's home, and I go under so much pressure. The CDA, the Office of the Children's Registry, the police, the public health, everybody just come down on me, and I got noticed to remove those children that performed at the Marcus Garvey thing.
Yes.
They were supposed to graduate on Friday, July 22.
Yes.
The police, the CDA called up their parents on the 21st. And say if they don't get their children from Jackie Roots, they go and bring the police, come take them away.
Oh, really?
Yes, man, I never tell her about this, but that's what happened. So instead of a graduation this year, I had to carry them home by night. Mm-hmm. So most of the children, they went back home, and the ones that lived with me, they are still with me. Yes. I'm still under pressure, but Tankwell saw what was happening, stepped in, approached the UDC, and somehow he got this place for me. Okay. And I want to say thank you. So we're having a bingy of Thanksgiving, where we're inviting all mountains to come join with me to say thank you to the powers that be that can enable us to get this property and to continue sharing the love and the care.
And one of the things that is happening there on the 1st of February is
one
that
of the most important things happening is that we will be exchanging keys. Queen Mother Esibo will be giving me a key to Asamanson in Ghana, and I'll be presenting her with a key to Asamanson here in Trelawney, so that our children and grandchildren can have this little exchange program where they can come and feel at home. My children can go to Ghana and feel at home, because they will have a home, they'll have somewhere to go to.
Yes.
So, yes.
And all of this, Sister Jackie, will be happening on February 1 at what time?
Yes, that's next week, Sunday. Well, because it's a full day of Thanksgiving, we will be having the Ethiopian Orthodox priest, because we have a mansion, we have a mission of the Orthodox Church here in.
Yes.
So we will be having a full liturgic service in the morning with the priest from the Orthodox Church, following after which we will have the exchange of keys and the signing of the document, and Prince DeAndre will be emceeing that section, and King Tiva and the Sons of Thunder will be doing the drumming during that portion, and then the bingy fire, which of course will be lit from Saturday night midnight.
Okay.
So the bingy drums will be rolling all day Sunday straight into Monday morning.
Okay.
And we are just giving thanks, coming together to say thank you.
All right. All right. And once again, this is happening on February 1. This is Sunday coming, and it is in Trelawney at what was formerly the Rio Bueno travel stop, but now it's going to be renamed as in Manso. That's brilliant, Sister Jackie. Really good thinking. Africanizing where we are, after all.
Yes, ma'am.
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
And the exchange of keys will be happening there also. Any other thing you want to say quickly, Sister Jackie? Anything else?
One of the keys will also be presented to known degrees of Tanquil. Because after all, we are Tanquil babies now. Every way,
Yeah.
So we want to say thank you.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much, Sister Jackie Roots.
God bless you, and thank you for the African space.
All right. Give thanks.
People, to identify the enemy is to free the mind. Free the mind of the people. Speak to the mind of the people. Speak truth.
All right, lots of persons are dealing with chikungunya, and the legacy, the lingering effects, so that a free event is planned as a platform for an open discussion on the long-term effects of a chikungunya virus. And this will be at the Lion House, Brednut Hill, Sunday, the 25th, which is today. And it will be from 2 to 4 p.m. We go to the phone lines where Mama Ora is online to tell us about this discussion event. Mama Ora, good morning.
Yes, good morning, Sister Kabu. Okay. The Most High blessing.
Hotep, my sister. All right, so really it is cause for concern for many persons who had chick V. It's certainly not dengue, because you have dengue and then, as soon as it's done and you're out again. We know the symptoms are similar in a way, or the mosquitoes. But lots of lingering effects persons are experiencing. And then we hear this word relapse, which to me is worrisome. But let us talk about this. The legacy, this event. What is the background to having this event?
Well, Sister Izzy Bentley and myself, both natural living eye tellers, have been suffering so much in the last, since October. And we've been doing some research on the internet, and I've been interviewing people and realizing that there's such a variety of symptoms that we wanted to call together those people who are feeling these after effects and start to document what's really happening, and then put ourselves in groups, start an action plan, see if we can look at different ways of healing ourselves. We don't have the answers, but we certainly have a variety of questions and like to present ourselves as a collective. I was in touch with some people in Kingston. They've invited us to come to Kingston in the future. We'd like to have a series of events where people can just come and tell their stories.
And so the aim of this event is what? To have these stories told, and then and what's the objective?
Well, I think, first of all, we'd like to have a clearinghouse, because I don't believe that any of this is being documented. And in the research I've been doing, there are cases that are clearly documented. So we are having effects that I haven't even read about online. And it seems like the virus keeps transmuting and transforming within people. And so the purpose of this gathering is for us, first of all, to gather information, and then as a collective decide where we go from there.
Okay. And so who's this open to? It's going to be happening today here in Rios. Who's this open to?
It's open to anyone, people who are curious about chikungunya, people who are suffering from chikungunya, people who have a medical background are welcome to come and give us insights on what to do. Natural healers are invited to come and with herbal remedies that we might be interested in. We're just opening up the table of discussion, something that I feel that needs to be done.
All right. Let me talk about the principals, the persons who are organizing this.
My name is Mama Ora. I'm a yoga teacher, children's arts teacher, but also I've been researching natural healing for maybe over 30 years. Mm-hmm. Sister Izzy is a registered nurse. She's retired, and also natural living Rastafari.
Mm-hmm. And now we talk about the aims and the objectives. What should people know who are going to be coming there today? What are they coming to do? They're coming just to talk through, to share their own experiences, what they've used. What should they be expecting when you come into that space today, later on for the conversation? What should people expect once they get there?
Okay, well, that's interesting that you bring that up. We are just providing a platform. We have no expectations, but we do know that because of the way the virus is affecting people, that it's such a fascinating thing to look at, that we want to share our stories. I think everybody wants to share their story and be heard. And so let's put that together with other stories and see if we can see a common thread. For those people who have had a recovery, a complete recovery, share with us what it is that you did, that maybe we can facilitate that in our own lives.
Yes.
So I think it's something that's going to be very transformational, and that's what I'm expecting.
And, I think it's a brilliant idea to really conceptualize this, to do and to actually, be implementing it. I think it's really great. And as you said, I don't know that this is being done and documented at a state level, so that I must commend the team who are putting this together to say, let us come, talk about this, talk about our experiences, talk about what we have done for those of us who are feeling a little better, and to share that and to document that. And then I heard you said earlier, you're going to move this also to Kingston, and I really do hope that can go through the different parishes, so that you can really document this properly and then present it if needs be.
Yeah. I think it's important, Sister Kabu, because chikungunya I don't think it's going to be localized to the Caribbean. And I know that a lot of people aren't even aware.
It's devastating. It's devastating.
Mosquitoes are everywhere.
Yes.
So I don't think it's going to be a tropical disease. Sister Izzy told me that it was in Spain. I read it was in Italy. So, it's moving up into Europe. And I'm sure it's moving up into, northern
and it's not becoming a celebrity disease, because Lindsay Lohan now has it, or had it, and so that, it's a celebrity disease. But it's interesting to hear the way they're reporting on this as a dangerous virus that is untreatable, and on this, and that this, she missed her court date, and, this is a good thing that at least she missed her court, she had chikungunya, because the disease is so terrible that she can use it as an excuse. And I'm saying, wow. So this for North America and Europe is such a terrible disease.
Yeah. I'm going to be honest, Mr. Kabu. It's a mystery condition because it keeps coming back in different forms. One day one hand hurts, the next day your foot hurts, the next day your back hurts, and it's one thing I read online is the amount of suffering. And I haven't been sick in 20 years, so this is amazing to me. And and looking at it in terms of a lifestyle now. Yeah. Do I have to look forward to this? Initially it was the initial 4 months, 3 months, and it was 5 years, and we just read somewhere we're 10 years. So, like, what do we really have to look forward to? And, looking online for the long-term effects, we really are so aware that we're suffering from something very different from the original chikungunya that first affected people in India and Africa.
And it's interesting because one of the things, I remember when we started talking about this pretty early, that one of the things that came out is that we heard that there were 3 distinct strains, and that and this is what I heard from the experts at the time, so I'm just repeating what I heard, that there were 3 distinct strains, and that you could get each of these 3 distinct strains 3 different times. And that is why I am concerned about the conversation on relapse and so on. I'm not understanding it. But in any case, talking to each other the way you and the team are planning to do this beginning today, I think is a brilliant idea. Where is this going to happen today?
Okay, well, we're meeting at the Lion House. It's in Rednut Hill. If you follow the road out of Ochio towards Fern Gully and bear to the left and follow the road all the way up, you'll start to see the signage for Lion House. And just park and come in. The entry is free. We also have refreshments available. And I think that people will really, feel like they're being heard. This is a grassroots movement. It's not a government or even a medical movement. It's grassroots. Just us taking our lives into our own hands and moving forward.
People power. Thank you so much, Mama Aura. Thank you so much. And please let me know how it goes. And if you're moving to the island, I know you're going to Kingston, but let me know what's happening with the rest of the island, and we talk about that. I'd really like for when you're finished documenting this and I put your report together, that you can come in studio and we have a conversation.
We would love to. Thank you, Sister Kabu, and thank you to your listeners.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Hide nothing from the masses of the people. Tell no lies. Expose lies whenever they are told. Mask no difficulties, mistakes, failures. Claim no easy victory.
Hold squatters. And the best land is being given away. And where the oppressed have cut out a little piece for themselves and have been on it for years, and government know they've been on it for years, and government realizes that this is a valuable piece of land. They're driving the oppressed off a land in droves, and so they want to drive them off a land at Fisherman's Beach in Rios. They want to drive them off a land in Negril. They want to drive them off a land at Goat Island, yes. Yes, Goat Island, we're putting it on it. They want to drive them off a land at Roaring River. And they become squatters. And the more they are suffering, the more natural their sufferings appear. And the suffering themselves share this callousness toward themselves and are lacking in kindness toward themselves and to each other. It is terrible that human beings so easily put up with existing conditions, not only with the sufferings of strangers, but also with the suffering, their own suffering. The compassion of the oppressed for the oppressed is indispensable. And so the oppressed government of Jamaica must have compassion for the oppressed people of Jamaica and those who are oppressed across the island. Have you noticed that it's mainly one color that's being oppressed across the island? I know this is no Christine Columbus situation, but it is what it is. Sometimes we have to stop and ask ourselves. So when you're watching the news, for example, and when you see the demonstrations, and when you're passing a town and you see the suffering, and you drive through the most depraved areas of Jamaica, have you noticed that 99.999% of the people are black? The compassion of the oppressed for the oppressed is indispensable. Our suffering is not natural. The more we suffer, the more natural the suffering appears, but our suffering is unnatural. there must be economic freedom in our... What's happening in Zambia? Because the elections have happened in Zambia. The Zambian opposition, up to last night, had not accepted the results. It's a 46-48 figure, 48 for the Zambia's, the winner, Edward Lungu. 48 point something, and there's 46 point something for the opposition. But we understand, the Western media is reporting that the presidential election has been won by Defense and Justice Minister Edgar Lungu of the Patriotic Front, and that he will be sworn in today. I haven't seen that swearing-in ceremony yet. I'm watching for that. But you was mighty well pleased with this land that he found. You might recall that after the death of President Sata, that Zambia was ruled by a white president, a white Zambian of Scottish descent, that he was interim president. But the opposition is claiming victory, and the Western media is not reporting on that. So I don't think it's as clear-cut as Western press is making it out to be. Because up to last night, and I don't know if anything has changed in between, we'll check on that, the Zambian opposition had said that the election wasn't free and fair, and they had won by a slight margin. So we're watching what's happening in Zambia. We told you last week that Zambia would be voting, and Zambia, the elections were on the same day that Zambia played in the Africa Cup of Nations. And Zambia, you broke my heart in the Africa Cup of Nations. You certainly did. So I'm watching this match, and Zambia is playing Tunisia, and the Tunisian team is all Arabs, well, for the most part. And so you have these strong black men from Zambia playing, and they played really good. They played much better than Tunisia. And, they had like 50 shots at goal, managed to score 1, I think it was. And Tunisia had 3 shots at goal. And then just towards the end, they managed to score 2. And so Zambia really played with that one. It is a shame. It happened on the same day as the election, and people were making all kinds of jokes. They were saying the Zambian team should not go home and vote. But in any case, exciting times in Equatorial Guinea because the Africa Cup of Nations is on. South Africa is not having a good time at all. Bafana, I was with you in the beginning to win this thing. Nigeria is not there. So how come? Yes, some people. So they're struggling. Roger Hasford, when he comes in, will tell us a little bit more about that. I think there was a draw last night between Cameroon and who did Cameroon play again? But it's exciting. It's exciting. We're watching and looking at it. Lots of stars coming out of the Africa Cup of Nations, though, and stars from defense players. We have 5 or 6 emerging right now. So it's pretty good players. So we're watching them to see what happens. So the Africa Cup of Nations, big things going on in Equatorial Guinea. But Zambia, you broke my heart. And you said I will make him my own piece of ground. Coming up shortly, we'll be joined in the studio by my colleague, Patrice Walters, from the newsroom in a segment that we do from time to time in this space called From the Reporter's Desk. And she's joining me this morning to talk about the work that she's been doing following the story of the North Coast Highway, China, heritage sites and Roaring River all rolled into one, and she's been doing some real brilliant work in that regard. So she's been following that story when she's running African, and Patrice Walters, senior reporter in the IWFM newsroom, has joined me in the studios. Good morning, Patrice.
Good morning, Kabu. Good morning, everybody.
All right. I know you've been working really, really hard, and thanks so much for coming in this morning, Patrice, on this.
You're welcome.
You've been following this story, and I can just tell our listeners the extent to which you're following this story, because you're the only reporter who wakes me up and really don't care to say, have you noticed that the highway is coming. And I'm saying, Patrice, where is it coming? All right, but anyway, thank you so much for that, Patrice. Really, really hard work that you've put in in this. What is your own concern, though? What's your own interest in what's happening with the North Coast?
Specifically to the Roan River issue? It's not so much of a concern. It's more like puzzlement.
Yes.
I'm a bit puzzled as to why a lot of people are opposing it when it's, in a sense, something good, something that will help a lot of people. That's just my personal view.
You mean giving the way the lands are worrying with? What are people opposing?
No, as in the development that will come with it. You have infrastructure, and the proposal is to have housing and hotel and shops. That's employment and homes. And easier access between Kingston and Ochio. So if you live in Ochio, you can go to Kingston and work and come home.
Are people really opposing it, though?
Some people,
apart from this space.
No, not apart. Some people that I've talked to on the streets, they have an issue with the Chinese taking over things that they feel belong to us. So, which is kind of unusual to me, because I consider the people who are Chinese to Jamaican, because we have Chinese Jamaicans as well, and they've contributed over the years to the development of Jamaica overall. And where you have somebody coming in with the money that we don't have to help develop the country, we have to bargain with something.
I think it's a very similar argument.
I don't understand why they have an opposition to them coming in to help.
And then the story, your research and you're going after the story is to find out
why they're having a problem with it.
All right, and so that you're talking to those people and you're also talking to government.
Yes.
Give me an idea of what you've come up with so far in terms of what your own investigations have revealed.
In terms of the people who I spoke to who lived on the area, who are quote-unquote squatters, their concern is that they have nowhere else to go. And primarily because they don't have any money.
And these squatters are where exactly?
Right by the roadside.
Okay, so they're
on the hill. Right, when you stand on the main road and look up across from Old Fort Bay.
All right.
They take up the entire hillside all the way back up towards Steertown.
So they're actually in the path of the North Coast Highway?
In a sense, yes.
Okay.
But there were only 4 houses that were specifically affected by where they were doing work. So I went and I spoke to 2 of the residents who lived in that particular area. And their main concern was being unable to relocate because they don't have anywhere else to go and they don't have any money.
So are they
relocated? Coming for anybody else in Jamaica? Yes.
Okay.
The last time I spoke to Miss Birch, she had moved to Bamboo, where her daughter lives, and she was making arrangements with the UDC to finalize the process that they normally go through. I need to follow up with her as well as UDC to find out how that has been going.
So from your own research, you found that the squatters, the persons who are on lands in that area, four houses are affected.
Yes.
The others are not affected in terms of the highway.
No, not that I'm aware of.
And those persons are being relocated.
They've already gone, and they've already cleared the area and moved the buildings.
All right. But you said one person is with her daughter, so that's not the real. She's just gone to her daughter, but she's going to be relocated by the state?
Not. That's why I need to follow up and find out what is happening since then. But then my concern was that here are people who live on this land and they don't own it. So they don't have official and a valid reason for being there.
How long have they been living there?
I think she said 10 years. I don't quite remember how long, but it's been a while.
So the state allowed her to live there for 10 years, and this is so-called crown lands.
Right.
And now now they need to remove
them because the land is being developed.
Right. In terms of your own investigations, do you know what the law is regarding that? I mean, you've been on it for 10 years.
I'm aware of some statute of limitation as to persons being allowed to stay if you've been there long enough. I know from personal experience where that has applied to somebody I know. They were on the land for 2 generations, 3 generations, and they were allowed to stay because they've been there long enough, even though they weren't paying property tax and didn't have titles and stuff like that. So I'm not aware of the specific law, but I know that there is something there that allows you to stay if you've been there long enough.
Because my understanding is that entire area that we were saying, and there are many houses there, aren't there?
Yes.
Because you talk about going all the way
up the hill, yes.
Yeah. That's a strong voting area.
Yes.
Right. So
and it's tricky because you are supposed to vote from where you live officially. This is your official residence. This is your official address, and yet these people are unofficial residents.
Right.
It's tricky.
But that's where they're voting from.
Yes.
So this is a voting block.
Yes, in a sense, yes.
Do you have an idea about how many families? I know it's a lot of houses.
No, I didn't do a survey, or I didn't check to find out exactly how many live in that specific area.
But what we do know is that it's a strong voting block in St. Anne, and then I'd like to see where the investigations take you, Patrice, in terms of understanding how they came to be there in the first place and to be there for such a long time.
Else to go.
Really,
that's their claim. They don't have anywhere else to go.
And to be there
Which
for
is the
such a
typical
long
story
time.
for any squatter. They always say they don't have anywhere else to go. But then, even if you had somewhere else to go, you can't afford it. So that's another hurdle.
Right. So squatting, I think out of this story, you have a whole, well, and I know people have been doing this for a long time, but there's a whole new story on squatting and what we call squatting in Jamaica.
Yes.
Because people who, entire communities to me that grow up on so-called phone lands
settlements
and go on for 10,
that in a
15,
sense it's
20
a
years.
Historical foundation.
Yeah.
Because when you left the plantations and you went out and tried to stake a claim for somewhere, that's how the town started.
And that's why landlessness is I think is also one area that we should look at as we put squatting in perspective. I'm very interested in the squatting in
that area,
in the Roaring River area in particular, or the so-called squatting. Informal settlements, good term.
Right. But then if they even get them to relocate, what will happen to them? Where will they go? And then even if you relocate the persons who are there now, you are going to have more squatters down the road, because as soon as development is done and you put in the commercial shops and the hotels and the housing, people are going to come into the area seeking jobs. They don't have anywhere to sleep. They're going to squat.
And then so that moves us now to the likelihood of that entire area, the Roaring River area, now coming back to Dunn's River, being earmarked for China. So you've also been talking to Minister Davies about that. What have you found?
The government's position is that they have not made any final decision as yet. They're still in proposal mode. And the proposal from the Chinese is to have the section to the seaside, possibly for development of a resort, a hotel, and a section
to the seaside. So that is over Laughing Waters area,
down that way. Yes,
right.
Between Laughing Waters and Old Fort Bay, somewhere down that side.
That's a proposal from China.
Yes, they've pointed out where they would like to get access to develop.
But it's on both sides of the road?
Yes, both sides of the current main road. So they want something on the seaside to build a hotel, and they're also looking at the part where the Great House now sits.
Well, I do have the documents from the St. Anne Development, from the legal document which talk about that area to the seaside, especially Laughing Waters, which would seem to me to indicate that what they are proposing cannot be done there. Not by law. They'd have to change the law to do
get
that.
Down there.
I'll give you that document.
Because I've seen the vans and the surveyors in that area mapping out. There's an
I just
old
like the way you
stone
said
wall,
that. Yes.
and I've seen the vans and the Asian-looking people, as well as some Afro-Jamaican people in the area.
Yes.
And you know the tripod thing that they used to measure? Yes, I've seen them in the area staking out. Okay. So there's some interest over there.
Right. Yes, deep interest. Well, it will be interesting also, and we've been asked, and I've written using the Access to Information Act for information regarding who really owns the Laughing Water property, because I don't know how it became a UDC ownership, because it wasn't supposed, even if it's in the UDC's, and I don't think it should have gotten to the UDC's hand, that, it was left for the people of Jamaica. And we have the oral tradition which says that, but we also have documented information which says that entire area, including Laughing Waters, really does not belong to the government or UDC. But then we also have the St. Anne Order, which talks about the fact that you really can't develop that area, including the Fisherman's Beach area.
Okay.
That's interesting. But as you say, Patrice, they're staking it out.
Yes, they have been over there.
Yeah.
Yes,
I like the term. I like the terms taking it out.
Yes.
All right. So you were saying that area to the sea. China has said that they want to
apparently,
develop.
based on what the government is saying, that they have proposals for that section as well as where the Great House is on the other side.
Okay.
So they're planning to use there for the development.
Right. Is there any concern when you talk to Minister Davies about this being a watershed area and the limestone and what will ultimately
based
happen?
On his response, all the environmental assessment and impact and studies have been done. Done primarily for the construction of the highway. So they have already taken those factors into consideration for building the highway. I am not certain if they need to do a separate set.
Yes, they do need to do
housing and right.
Oh, they need to do that.
I'm not sure if they've
because you're talking about an entire watershed,
right,
which is a Rio Bueno watershed.
Right.
Which because building the highway is one thing,
right,
but then developing both sides of the road. You must compromise. You must compromise the water. Yes.
I was planning to speak to the Water Resources
Authority.
Mr. Fernandez, I think his name is Fernandez, to get a follow-up as to what is happening with that.
Well,
and then there's also a concern for the hotel, because I'm to understand that the Jewels has some agreement with them to get water from the river. And if there's a watershed disturbance problem, then there's a possibility that everybody from the hotel down the road to Miami Bay will not get water.
Right, and we did speak to the Water Resources Authority, Mr. Fernandez, on this program a few weeks ago.
Yes.
And he was also very concerned about what would happen in that area if there's a development there.
Right.
And I'd like to see where the story takes you, because I know you're in the middle of that in terms of looking at how the watershed will be disturbed. But I've heard Minister Davies talking to you, and he seems very strident and also dismissive of many of the concerns, because one of the things I heard him saying to you is that well, this is prime land, and why would you want to keep prime land like that idle?
Idle, yes. Yes. That's the impression he's given, that it can't stay like that for eternity. It would be good if some use was had for it.
Different from the watershed use.
Yes. Yes. So I think he's looking at it in terms of the catchphrase, employment and upliftment and
investment,
yes.
All those little words.
Yes.
And I heard him use the term that China is using in Africa. And when I heard it on your story, I thought, wow, this is the very same term that China uses across the continent of Africa. China says it's a win-win. And I heard him use the very same term. It's an interesting thing, because it is China's...
No, that was his summation of how the situation will play out.
But it is China's policy.
Okay.
It is China's policy in terms of the Angola model, which is to say it's a win-win. But it's really, from my own investigations and what's happening in the continent of Africa, that there's one win for Africa and there are three wins for China. And it is the three wins for China that makes your investigation very important, because then we have to balance the three wins for China against one win for Jamaica to determine whether or not the opportunity cost. Yeah, it's worth it,
Yes.
So I'm worried about the three wins for China.
Granted, that's a position that a lot of people will take, but I'm also looking at where down the line this will lead for people in the area, how they will benefit. And I can see his position in that people will benefit if you have development in the area.
What precedent do we have, and what do we have to compare this to?
Now, there is where it gets tricky, because we've seen in the past where they've made promises and they weren't fulfilled. So it's just another position now where you basically have faith in his proposition, as well as the Chinese, that this will happen. And you try to hold them fast to that promise.
I'm very interested in China's development plan for Roaring River. That I would like to see, and I know that you're following that. Anything.
But there's also the possibility that it might not come out, because they keep pointing out to us that no decision has been made.
But don't you see the tripod thing stand up down there is taking out the place?
Right. No, but that's what I've seen down here. I don't know what is happening along the rest of the road down towards Kingston, because he did point out that there are other plots of land that you're looking at. So it might not necessarily be Roan River that they get. They might get somewhere else. So there's also the
I know you're following
that they don't get that specific area.
I know you're following the story, Patrice, and I know you'll take it right where it's going to lead. and I wait for that, for the continuation of the investigation. Another angle to the story that you've been following, and thank you so much for that, is a heritage site.
Yes.
Because I think you, through pointing to that, you might have pointed the government to the fact that they're doing something wrong.
Which is what he admitted to, in a nutshell, when I did the interview. He did not want to divulge specifically what the quote-unquote blunder was. But he, in a sense, inferred that there was some work being done and they weren't considering where the heritage sites were. And he said corrective measures are being taken. And to an extent, I've seen where that is happening, because I've gone to the area, and where the old water wheel is, which is a protected heritage site, they've marked it out. There's some flags around that specific area. So that itty-bitty spot is marked out. I'm not sure what is happening up by the house.
All right. This is award-winning journalism as far as I'm concerned, because I know the highway, you know, you watch Color Purple and they said, well, the train line is coming.
Yes.
The train line is coming. Well, it's really the road that's coming. It's you know, obviously we're glad for the highway and so on.
Because it might not necessarily be a bad thing. It's just that what you get out of it might not necessarily be that positive for you.
But it's a shame, though, that and that's what journalism is supposed to do. But that it takes a journalist to point out to the state, what happened to the Jamaica National Heritage Trust? What happened to NEPA? What happened to all these agencies that are to be saying to the state that, all right, well, once a highway gets to this point, you're now in a heritage site area.
Well, when I spoke to the JNHTA, the chairman did indicate to me that when they were doing preparation work for the highway, they did go through all the various lands for where the highway is to be built and checked for any artifacts, important items that could be salvaged or put aside, and give them an idea as to where they can go with the road based on what they found. So they have done that study already.
But the blunder, we don't know at this stage what the blunder is.
He wouldn't specify what the blunder is.
Do you have an idea what it is?
No. I'd have to go up to the house to see for myself what exactly took place.
Yeah. And what exactly is there? It's a water wheel?
The water wheel is by the main road. So whenever you pass between St. Anthony and Ochio, you see that every day.
Okay.
The house is further inland.
All right. Very, very good work, Patrice. Anything else you want to tell us about the research that you've been doing and the investigation that you've been doing regarding?
I'll be doing more follow-ups, because I need to get back in touch with the residents who moved recently to find out what is happening with them. And I also need to find out from UDC what is happening in terms of the environmental aspects of the work, because there's still some concern about whether or not our water supply will be disturbed, although they keep promising that it won't be touched. But everybody knows from tradition and history that when you affect a waterway, it goes somewhere else, and that's a major waterway to send somewhere else, because it wouldn't only affect our domestic water supply, it will also affect our tourism. And
wow, so there's a lot to do, and Patrice Waters is following the story. She's on it from many different angles. There's so many different angles, Patrice.
Yes.
So you're looking at the heritage side, you're looking at the squatters, you're looking at, you know, the watershed area, whether or not development can happen on that land, Laughing Waters down there. So wow, it's a lot. But keep on it. I mean, great work. Congratulations. Thank you so much.
Thank you
for being on the story.
Thank you. All
right. Patrice Waters, senior reporter from IRFM's newsroom, following the story from the reporter's desk inside of the Africa Forum. Award-winning work from Patrice Waters, believe me. Listen to IRFM News. The features or stories or reporting is across IRFM on all of the major newscasts. So listen to IRFM News to follow up and to find out more about China in Jamaica, and also to find out more about the planned development for Roaring River, whether or not government will be giving that land to China, and also whether or not this will and the effect. Right. We're going to be going down to Westmoreland for the Peter Tosh Festival, the Peter Tosh Tribute. We're there in Westmoreland from the 20th. On the 20th of February, we will be at the Belmont Academy for the Peter Tosh lecture, and the event will be organized by the Belmont High School. Principal Ryan Simpson doing a brilliant job on that. The Peter Tosh lecture will be delivered by Mr. Moses Davis, Beanie Man himself. So Beanie Man will be delivering the Peter Tosh lecture on the 20th of February from Belmont Academy. This will be broadcast live on IRI FM. DJ Sunshine will be in the house broadcasting her program live on the 20th. It's a Friday, of course. So it starts at 2 p.m. and it ends at 6 p.m. We'll be bringing that live to you back to IRI FM along with DJ Sunshine, Beanie Man, the entire IRI FM team, and also the people of Westmoreland and the people of Jamaica. So make it a weekend. Tell you what, make it a weekend. Make it a weekend. This the 20th, 21st, and 22nd. Because on the 21st, we are at the Peter Tosh Memorial Gardens on the Saturday, into the Saturday night, and you know how that goes. Because we just jam. We just jam on a Saturday night at the Peter Tosh Memorial Gardens. We just jam. Believe me, we be jamming in a serious way. Jamming beside the firelight, jamming beside the kitchen, jamming, with a pot of bubble, just jamming in the yard, jamming with the man about them thing, and, with the woman about them thing, and just jamming with people coming from across Jamaica, just coming in. And then Sunday morning, we broadcast almost all day. We're broadcasting live from the Peter Tosh Memorial Gardens. That's on the 22nd. And this year, of course, our theme as we go into the Peter Tosh Tribute, the Peter Tosh Festival, is Them in Our Land. Them in Our Land. And we're talking about the extent to which land and people are landless in Jamaica, and the extent to which our land is being given away by our government, the extent to which the children of the enslavers still control large swathes of land across Jamaica, the extent to which all and sundry can come in and just buy an entire beach side and say, remember what's her name who died? What's her name again? The rock singer who died? Group of 27. She's in the 27 Club, where she came and she bought massive piece of land in Portland, and she ended up saying it was the cheapest piece of drug-infused land buy that she's ever had. She just buy one whole seaside, one whole beach. So that happens in Jamaica. And so this year, as we go to celebrate Peter Tosh, we know the title of the song is Apartheid. And we're talking about the apartheid-like conditions on our beaches in Jamaica. So it's Them in Our Land as we go to the Peter Tosh Festival. So join us on the 20th in Westmoreland for the Peter Tosh lecture at the Belmont Academy. It's going to be an Irie Day. Beanie Man will be there. He'll be delivering the Peter Tosh lecture. You can't miss that. Can't miss that. DJ Sunshine will be there. The entire IRFM team will be there. We broadcast back live. On the 22nd, we are in the yard, the Peter Tosh Memorial Gardens. Just jamming. And then, on the 21st, it's a big Peter Tosh festival as we broadcast that all day live here on IRI FM, beginning with the IRI FM, with the Africa Forum. This program, we're lifting the team and we're heading into Westmoreland for that weekend, big and bad and bold, with the shockwave and so on. So join us in Westmoreland, 20, 21 and 22. We wrap things up for the month in Westmoreland. And And then on the 8th, two things happening now. This year is a 70th anniversary of a birth date of Bob Marley. And we're heading to 9 Miles, the spiritual home of Bobby Marley, of Robert Nesta Marley. You know, I was watching a documentary on Bob Marley on HBO, I think it was. And I saw him, you know, just looking at that documentary in a brand new light. Wow. I am really focused on Peter Tosh. And Peter Tosh, you know, is like in me. Peter Tosh is me. I am Peter Tosh. And so was Bob Marley, but not at a high spiritual level, you know, because I get to some really high spiritual levels when I'm listening to Peter Tosh. Bob Marley I really do love. And then I'm watching the documentary, and I once again was reintroduced to Bob Marley, and I really, really like that. The documentary is called Marley. He talked about Zimbabwe, and he talked about, you know, when he was asked to come and to go and perform in Zimbabwe, that the newly independent government could not afford to bring him to Zimbabwe. And Judy Moore talks about how Bob Marley paid that entire trip out of his own pocket to Zimbabwe without being paid, without just saying to Zimbabwe, we will be there. You can't afford it, we will be there. And that he took care of all the costs. How many artists do you know today who would say that and do that regardless? How many? And you know, I like the way Judy Moore talked about it, because she talked about, you know, the freedom fighters who were outside of a stadium and the extent to which the stadium was full to the brim, just overflowing, and the freedom fighters and others who were outside who couldn't get in, who when, you know, at a certain point when Bob Marley started singing and talking about not to liberate Zimbabwe and so on, that there was a surge of the stadium, and that the fences were broken down and the walls were scaled, and that people just ran into the stadium, and that the resulting circumstances for that was that the police fired tear gas on the crowd, and people scattered in all directions, including those who were on the stage. And Judy Moore talked about how Bob Marley did not move, that he was in this spiritual place and he was just singing, and that even when she and the other backup singers had gone off stage and the drummer had gone off stage, that he didn't move, he was still singing and dancing. And when they came back on stage, she said Bob Marley looked at them and said, now I know who is a true revolutionary. So anyway, you know, I don't want to talk about the whole documentary, but I really sat down, watched that documentary, and really, really, really was reintroduced to Bob Marley in a serious way. So on the 6th of February this year, it will be Bob Marley's 70th birth date, and 9 Miles in St. Anne will be celebrating in fine style. So this is the spiritual home of Robert Nesta Marley. So we're heading to 9 Miles in St. Anne on February 6th, and then on February 8th, we're back in 9 Miles. We're broadcasting live on February 8th. The Africa Forum, the entire team, Africa Forum team, will be heading to 9 Miles in St. Anne on February 8th. We're broadcasting at 6 a.m. and we go through from 9 Miles, the spiritual home of Robert Nesta Marley, the 70th anniversary of the birthday of Bob Marley. Also want to tell you about our search for Jacob Miller. And we're doing this around DigiChris. DigiChris is in search of his brother, Jacob Miller. I'm talking about his blood brother. So we're doing this like an In Search of series, and DigiChris will be broadcasting live from Manchester, I think it is, on the 13th of February as he goes in search of Jacob Miller. So Jacob Miller is part of the lineup this year's IRFM pays tribute to the greats in February. We'll tell you much more about that, and you'll hear much more also from DigiChris about the search for his brother, Jacob Miller. So it's tribute to Jacob Miller from Mandeville on February 13. Then also, next week, Sunday, February 1, is Dennis Brown Day on IRFM all day. The Crown Prince of Reggae, Dennis Brown, his birthday, February 1. It falls on a Sunday this year, and all day it will be Dennis Brown Day. Bob Clark on the Memories program, broadcast live from Kingston, from Big Yard in that area, Orange Street, that area. So Bob Clark will be live from Kingston, corner of Orange and Charles Street. Next week, Sunday, as we celebrate D. Brown, the Crown Prince of Reggae, in partnership with Lego and the team there in Kingston. It's going to be a lovely day, believe me. So we invite you to join us in Orange Street in Kingston next week, Sunday, from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. and then beyond, as we pay tribute to the Crown Prince of Reggae. Do you know what it takes to make a revolution? Join us in Orange Street next week, Sunday. We've got lots and lots planned for the month of February, and that's just a little bit of what we've got planned.
Now this land is so rich, and it seems strange to me that the black man whose labor has helped it to be.
7 minutes now after 8 o'clock, you're inside of the Africa Forum Running African, and in this segment of the program, we'll be speaking with the fisherfolk from the Fisherman's Beach in Ochio. They have joined us live in the studio. We told you earlier on that we're doing some catching up, just looking back and updating ourselves on some of the issues that we've been talking about all of last year and long before that, just to see where we are in terms of the struggle. A luta continua, but we say victory is certain, Vittoria is certain. So the group, they've now joined me in the studio. We'll be talking about that and what's the latest. The background to this, of course, is that the fisherfolk at Fisherman's Beach have been told over the last few months that they needed to vacate the property. They have been there for decades, to vacate the property for some kind of development, and we're hearing all kinds of stories in relation to that. The UDC holds the property in trust. You know, there's something weird about the way in which agencies in Jamaica view the ordinary people of Jamaica and their own positions in Jamaica. And it is that, I don't know, it call me naive, so it's naivety. But I think that if agencies such as the UDC, such as NEPA, NWA, you name that. These agencies, you're working on behalf of the people. And it seems weird to me that there is this attitude, and it's not the agency, because agency is an abstract thing, but people within the agency somehow seem to have this attitude of patronage, that I am doing this for you and it is a favor. And I think we need a paradigm shift. We have to flip that on its head, literally turn it round and begin to think again. The only way we can flip that, though, is for us, we the people, to understand the true meaning of people power. So the folks on Fisherman's Beach, they have, in Ochio, they have joined us in the studio, a group of them. Juliet, you're there? All right, who do we have? All right, let me just see who we have in the studio. Morning, yes, who do we have? Morning. Well, okay, morning. Let me just have you. Yeah, let me have your names.
I'm the secretary for the corps, and this is
Right.
Patrick, good morning. I'm Patrick Foreman, fisherman and shop owner on the Fisherman Beach.
Yes.
Juliet Taylor, the assistant treasurer, and I'm a shop owner on the local Fisherman Beach.
Mr. Noel Lawrence, the speaker for the group.
All right, so as a speaker for the group, I'm going to start. Who's okay? You're not, what's your name?
I'm Dave Roberts, and I'm a fisherman and also a shop owner.
All right.
At the Fisherman Beach.
All right. Mr. Lawrence, as a speaker, tell me, give us a background to what the... nobody's hearing me? Well, it means your headphones are all down. There's nothing I can do from here. It's inside there. So it's your headphones. Just turn up your headphones, please. All right. We need to hear from Mr. Lawrence. Are you hearing me, Mr. Lawrence?
Not quite clearly.
Right. All right. The headphones. All right. So right. So give me a background to what the problem is.
Good morning. I'm Noel Lawrence.
We are here this morning to endorse that we are up and running and doing the necessary things to let Fisherman Beach be what it are to be. But we are still encounter with issues. Like yesterday evening, Mr. Simpson, a member of UDC, had a rap session, and they were telling us that there's coming up a meeting on Tuesday along with the ministers of the country. And we...
Which ministers? The ministers fraternal?
No, like Mr. KD and Mr. Omar.
Okay, of the UDC.
Right, and other member.
Okay.
Other like the Port Authority and some more associate with their group.
So you have been told by the UDC, a representative from the UDC, that there's going to be a meeting on Tuesday.
Right.
Including the chairman of the UDC.
Right.
And the manager.
Right.
And others.
And Port Authority and other affiliated to them. All right, but we understand from our perspective as a fisherman that the meeting is pretty short and we could not get our group together to attend that meeting.
The notice for meeting on Tuesday. The
meeting was...
all right, that microphone, speak in this one, please, yeah.
Was on a very short order, so we have asked them for some more time to properly organize and be able to deal with this meeting and get all the people together.
All right, so
effectively.
So you have asked them for the time. What have they said?
We haven't gotten a confirmation that the meeting is postponed till a later date, but by the end of today or tomorrow or early tomorrow morning, we will get that confirmation, and therefore we'll be able to say if it is indeed cancelled or postponed.
Yes, Mr. Lawrence.
Yes, Mr. Simpson, after we have a discussion, he was saying that he'll get to his superior, because he can't do any suggestion about the cancelling, yes or no. So he called to another one of his colleagues and we had a little chat, and they are saying they're going to get to their superior because parties that are engaging in the meeting might not can find time available on another date.
So, all right, I know the meeting is scheduled for Tuesday. Juliet, why the group can't make it? Why you can't make it for Tuesday?
It's not just... in preparation, we need to prepare ourselves in terms of hosting or facilitating this kind of meeting and to get everybody notified in such, because for instance we are mostly fisher people, right? Sometimes we go to sea, we are not necessarily coming in back that very same day.
Okay.
And that pose a little bit of problem to get important and relevant persons present on such a short notice.
But this is something that the UDC should know, Mr. Lawrence.
Yes, but I believe that from their executive party that they get a pretty short notice to. I think even members of parliament and others as associate, they're saying it's just a short time they get to know that the meeting will be like Tuesday. So I don't know what in the pipeline that trigger off this meeting to be set on Tuesday. But I feel more or less that if you have a meeting properly planned and structured, then you should have time in advance to prepare yourself.
Right, and to notify people.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, so you're saying Fisherman out of sea, then I know it's a meeting I keep Tuesday?
Definitely, and normally a weekend, like today is Sunday, then folks take day off. Right. And then to get to them Monday morning, that they could prepare themselves for a meeting on Tuesday, then, it kind of a bit sticky.
So how much notice you need? What time you think the meeting is a good time for the meeting?
I was requesting at least a week.
Oh, okay. So if they say not this Tuesday, but next week Tuesday, that will give you more time to...
Yeah, that would be appropriate. That would be good for us.
Okay.
Get ourselves,
All right, so what is the situation now? You're still there? Have you heard anything since that time? I mean, you were supposed to... The last thing we heard is that you might have to leave Fisherman's Beach and allow people to come in and fix up the place, and it's an eyesore and all of that. So what's the latest now?
All right, they are still shedding some light on the preparation to get the property up and running. But there are still issues that surround it. Like they are saying, they want to fix up the shop them. And when we ask questions, fixing up the shop them, how it going to work out for the owner of the shop, or it is possible for everybody to get back some shop? And they are saying, no. And I says, what going to be the criteria of paying back for the shop, or what going to be the commitment that we have to encounter with? Because we know people spend their money, and I think they are spending their money for an investment, and people need to get back their principal along with the profit that they are intended to get out of business.
So let me, what you're hearing still is that you might not get back the shops.
No, not all the shops. I think some people will get shops.
How do they choose these people?
That's what puzzles me, and that's what affecting the body. For instance, you're there and it is your lifetime investment. And at the end of day 2, you hear that you're not qualified or you're not fortunate enough to receive back your space.
Are you supposed to be registered? Is there, you submit a list to them? I mean, how do they know what criteria? What criteria?
There was a data collection process done by SDC on behalf of UDC.
When?
Sometime last year between, I think it was between March and sometime between March and April last year, and they have been assessing this data from time to time by updating things, and I think based on some of that information, they are probably making their judgment, but there's no real confirmation of that still. These are most likely rumors, just as we hear that they probably be coming to compensate people with a certain figure.
Compensate for what?
500,000.
The beach, like they said, there's a plan that if you as an individual does not want to continue operating on the premises, there's a after the development or even before, there's an offer that you can take some money and they...
So you're saying that is a rumor? You don't get
there's no real confirmation from them that this is so.
Okay. So more or less, this is what you're here.
Yes.
Wow, well, this is the kind of uncertainty and the rumors that you get when people are not meeting with people and talking to them. So, but they have a meeting scheduled now. You're saying that your main issue now is with that date that they've given for the meeting.
That's me.
All right. So you have asked him to push it back, Mr. Lawrence.
Yes, I do ask Mr. Simpson, and Mr. Simpson trying to get to his superior. But it is not a certainty that it can be changed.
If it can't be changed, then what?
Well, we are trying to send a delegate, because they are saying this meeting might just be a first meeting by the church hall, and follow-up meeting, then they might meet us at our location. We are asking, all right, this is a very much important meeting, then we would like to meet with all the fishermen, and that you can spread your growth, that they could understand what significant it is that they are doing about the property.
Right.
So, but they are saying for the picture, they are having a screen that will display the building and the design and all that they need to display, and the location wouldn't be the appropriate place at this time for the first meeting. But what I'm saying to Mr. Simpson, teacher come to school, would meet more children, and more children would have the understanding about the lesson, more than children go to the teacher's home to understand what the teacher is talking about. So we are saying, as an executive member, we are oftentimes telling the body of fishermen that we heard this, we heard that, and nothing concrete that would drive their spirit and their urgency to their investment, whether they are going to be comfortable or uncomfortable. So we do talk to Mr. Simpson, but never had a meeting, all the meeting them that we supposed to have with them always postponed, and they are still speculating that going on. Says, all right, Fisherman is going to lock down and at a given date, but I'm not here to confirm that because it has not been a meeting that we have met with UDC people.
So since you were here last year,
yeah,
you have not met with the UDC?
No. Still not come face to face with us.
It is not.
But I know that they have scheduled meetings, and then when they schedule meetings, what happens?
Postponed.
Who postponed it?
UDC.
Yeah.
So they have never turned up for any meeting?
Never. The close is yesterday evening. We talked to Mr. Simpson, and he said like that there was a meeting.
It was not a scheduled meeting?
No.
It wasn't a meeting. It was just a visit.
Okay.
To end us about the meeting to come.
Right, because I know that there was a meeting scheduled for some time. Was it November or December?
December.
Yeah,
December. And then 2 minutes before the meeting it was cancelled?
Yes.
Definitely. And then if you are engaging with somebody in collaboration, then you need to know transparency between you and the person, that you have a dialogue. You had a meeting, but there's nothing at all.
So who are you? What about your member of parliament?
Miss Shine Robinson.
The last time
that was the last time.
When we were here together at the studio, we haven't spoken to her since, or haven't met with her since.
All right, what about your councillor?
The same issue.
It's the same.
Who is the councillor? Dr. Williams. Yes. So nothing either. So after you leave here, nothing. They haven't met with you or anything.
What I choose to understand, Mrs. Angela, that the levels of respect that they have to offer fishermen, it's below zero. If you have respect fishermen in their property, and you want to make a gift or a present or help them because of the upliftment of the town, then there should be a concern of interest that fishermen, we are seeing you at a spot where you need to upgrade, and so we are doing our best to help you. There's no meeting, no concern, nothing at all. It is just that little droppings that going around, say, fishermen need to do this, I need to do that. Nothing confident.
Yeah, there must be some respect. And this is what I'm talking about.
In the ear and saying in the ear, but nothing confirmed. Nobody come confirm.
Everything is on the air, but nobody is really meeting with the fisher folk.
No.
So what would you want now? We don't have a lot of time. What would you want now? Talk about what you want to see. What you want.
All right. Definitely from my perspective, if you are going to give us a gift or enable us to upgrade the place, that is the first segment that we want to understand. That's why we are so much interested in having a meeting with them, that, all right, it's going to be a gift, or you're going to take away our ownership and put us in the state of being a tenant. Because if in case you're going to invest your money, then you're investing your money with an understanding that you're going to benefit back, or going to get back your principal with interest or not. But what we are saying today, there's a lifetime investment for the fisherman and the fisher folks. Yeah. And if we have invested our money all these years from day one until 4th generation, and then you're telling us that you are so much interested in the upliftment and upgrading of the Fisherman Beach, or the old town is going to be upgraded, but the Fisherman Beach is the first place that you are interested to upgrade. What going to be the criteria? What going to be the outcome of it? What going to be the feedback to affect fishermen? Or how much fishermen going to be comfortable in their shoe knowing that they are still the landlord and the owner? All right, Mr. Simpson said that you are the owner. But being the owner under dictatorship, that it is not comfortable. Because you cannot say, all right, fisherman, we're going to give you some shop and it's $2 million, it's 10 cents. And if you don't pay the 10 cents, then we're going to give you time and grace period and we're going to give you a write-off and set you free. It is not like that.
Do you have a lawyer?
We have engaged with a lawyer. We need to get...
No, we haven't officially retained a lawyer's service as yet, but we have had legal... We have had counsel and advice being given to us by the minister's fraternity and also the lawyers. And what we would really like for the UDC to do is to meet with us more, let us be able to better understand what their real intentions are, and remember that at the end of the day, as Mr. Lawrence said, this is our livelihood, and whatever steps you are planning to take is to endorse and not to take away. I understand?
And you know, I feel it so much when I say that, my brother. Honestly, I feel that statement you just make to my heart, really.
Yeah.
I feel a sincerity on it, because it's a deception that is coming from the UDC. It is lack of communication. And so there's a lot of rumors causing uncertainty, and the uncertainty to have you all kinds of ways. And these are decent people who sit down and look on inside us. And these are... Yes,
you need more clarity, you know.
And what UDC is definitely declaring, they are not the only party that are engaging in the affairance of fishermen.
Who are the other parties?
Yeah, they are saying like Port Authority and other member of concern and interest. So they are saying the meeting that is scheduled for Tuesday will just expose everything and let us get the first exposure of knowing what danger or what benefit or what interest or what good we are engaging with.
Well, we have just 2 minutes. You tell us your name again. Remind me, the sister that just came in. Jillian, yeah. Yeah, we have just 2 minutes ago.
Good morning, my name is Olive Byfield.
Olive, thank you, Olive, for coming in again. Anything you want to say quickly, Olive, about the situation on Fisherman? Oh, she's not hearing me. All right, because she doesn't have a headphone. All right, we're going to have to... Yeah, anything you wanted to say quickly about the situation on Fisherman's Beach?
Yeah, the situation, what is going on.
All right, we're not hearing you.
That's what we understand. With UDC not coming up to we up front and speak to we as the owner of Fisherman Beach. So we would like them to come and tell we the truth what's going around. Because they want to take away our property from us and turn it into a tenant, and that cannot work.
Yeah,
so
that
we plead for the church and the minister to come and help us.
The community.
Yes, yeah. Yes, we're taking 2 quick final words. Yes, my brother.
And also, we're also appealing to the wider Ochio community. Remember this, the Fisherman's Beach is the last public space you have to access the waterfront within the Ochio town. We lose that, we lose all. And therefore, this fight is not just for us alone, but we encourage, we have a petition going on social media, and also...
How can we find the petition?
You can come, the information is...
All right, so give me the information.
You can
get it at the beach. Give me before you leave so I can mention it. One final word to you, Mr.
Yes, we are so glad that we are still the lovers of Fisherman Beach. And we are saying to Ochio people and the wider Jamaica and the world at large, Ochio's Fisherman Beach is the place where you get your comfortable fish, clean fish, your nice food, and we want to keep the environment the way it's supposed to be and keep Ochio Rios as a fishing beach where people can understand and the next generation to come know that there is a Fisherman Beach in Ochio Rios.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, all of you. We'll have you back shortly. Half a second.
Yes, I would like to say the beach is like a factory and you have to know what you're doing. You can't just close down the beach or take care from the people.
Right, thank you, my brother. Thank you. All right, Patrick, thank you. Half a second to you, my brother. Half a second. Quick. Half a second. Yeah.
My name is Dave Roberts, fisherman, and I've been on the beach from I was a kid. And I got a big son that born and grow down there now, and he's the next generation.
We have to end it there, Dave. We have to end it. Thank you very much. Thank you all. It is now 8:30. Time for the Supreme Ventures Super Lotto Draw. We're standing by for that on IRFM. Thanks so much to the fisher folk at Fisherman's Beach for coming in.
Speak truth to the people. To identify the enemy is to free the mind. Free the mind of the people. Speak to the mind.
Look out for the rights and to look out for the people of Jamaica, the agencies which have turned against the people. We once again appeal to you. And how is it that as one of the people, the agents within the agency have now become the oppressors? The UDC has to do better.
This is news from Irie FM, Jamaica's non-aligned news voice.
Good morning. I am Primrose Oliver with the local and international headlines. Police recovered 2 illegal guns and several rounds of ammunition during separate incidents in St. Andrew and St. Catherine between Friday and yesterday. One man was arrested and charged in connection to one of the seizures. In the first incident on Friday, the St. Andrew Central Police seized a firearm and several rounds of ammunition in Augustown, St. Andrew, where 20-year-old Dane Davis was arrested. He is to appear in court on Friday, January 30. In the second incident, one firearm with 3.38 cartridges was seized on the Port Henderson Main Road in St. Catherine yesterday. No one was taken into custody in relation to that incident. A St. Catherine woman who pled guilty to fraud charges has been given a suspended sentence in the Old Harbour RM Court. She is Stacey Ann Moore, otherwise called Elizabeth Shuker, of Old Harbour in the parish. When the matter came up before RM Harris Mitchell, defence attorney Herbert McKenzie made an impassioned plea for a non-custodial sentence. He told the court that his client did not receive any money, adding that she has been forthright in her plea. He said Moore deserved a non-custodial sentence, having spent 9 months in custody. Moore was then given 3 months suspended sentence for possession of and uttering revenue paper. The Crown then withdrew 2 counts of forgery against the accused. The National Works Agency, NWA, says it has commenced technical works relating to 4 locations in St. Mary where heavy rains last December caused significant damage. The NWA says the road from Aracabessa to Union Hill at Ramble and the Hamilton Mountain Main Road have been rendered impassable. The stretch from Trinity to Fontebelle and a section of the North Coast Highway near Galena was also damaged. Communications manager at the NWA, Stephen Shaw, says the nature of the damage suffered at these locations require that the agency conduct special designs as a prerequisite. The designs are expected to be complete within 2 weeks. In news overseas, Greeks are voting in a general election which could result in Greece trying to renegotiate the terms of its bailout with international lenders. The lender of the left-wing Syriza party has pledged to write off Greece's huge debt and revoke austerity measures. However, the current Conservative Prime Minister Samaras says the austerity measures are working. He has urged voters not to take Greece to the brink of catastrophe. Finally, fighters from the Islamist militant group Boko Haram have launched an attack on the key city of Maiduguri in northeastern Nigeria. Fierce fighting has been reported on the outskirts. The military is carrying out airstrikes and a curfew is in place. Those were the local and international headlines. News is next at 11:45. From the RFM newsroom, I'm Primrose Oliver.
How are you doing, Mr. Dwight Fraser?
Not as good as how you sound.
Oh.
Right.
So good. But what's happening with the Africa Cup of Nations?
Well, the Africa Cup of Nations...
what's the point standings in the different groups? You have that?
In the different groups, yes. I can find that for you. But I know that for today, Congo is up against Burkina Faso and Gabon versus Equatorial Guinea. But before we run through the respective zones, I'd like to ask you which team or teams you're carrying.
For Afghan?
Yes.
It was Bafana, but really, but I'm with Black Star. I'm a Ghanaian team.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yes, I like Ghana as well.
Right, but I didn't think that they would do well. But Bafana, I expected something more from, and I don't think they're at the bottom of the standings on in their group.
All right. In the group to which you refer, Ghana, they're drawn in Group C. They're second on 3 points, behind Senegal on 4. Algeria third in the group on 3 points as well, and South Africa at the foot of that standings, Group C, on 1 point.
Yeah. So South Africa is going to have I think they're out.
Yeah.
No, I don't see them going any further.
I don't see them progressing either, because they have played 2 games.
It's such a shame, though. It's such a shame because they were meant to do better. But it is what it is. So in that, who's at the top of it?
For Group C, Senegal on 4 points ahead of Ghana on 3.
Okay, so Ghana is still in the
hunt. And Ivory Coast in Group D, and Cameroon, interesting group. It's an interesting group because Group D, all 4 teams are on 2 points. Ivory Coast on 2 points, Cameroon in second place 2 points, Guinea third place 2 points, and Mali at the foot of the standings on 2 points.
They might have a draw lots in that group.
What is interesting too is that the goal difference, that is goals for, that is goals that they have scored, and goals that they have conceded are the same. Ivory Coast, 2 goals for, 2 goals against. Cameroon, 2 goals for, 2 goals against. Guinea, the same picture. And Mali, the same picture.
So what does that mean?
That means that it would come down to the final match in the group to decide the 2 teams that would advance.
Okay.
So, 2 teams
so
will come out.
drawn a lot.
no. So, 2 teams will come out of each group.
Okay.
Group B, Tunisia, Congo, Cape Verde, and Zambia.
Tunisia is where in that group?
Tunisia leads the group on 4 points.
You see the problem here, tell you, because Zambia, the match between Zambia and Tunisia was an interesting match.
Interesting game.
Zambia should have won that match.
Yes.
Zambia had like 100. We said 50 this morning, but a whole lot of chances,
right?
And a whole lot of chances to score,
right?
But they didn't, and Tunisia pulled it back from them towards the end of the match. I almost cried.
So you see, and again, it comes back to what we said before about having possession, having shots at goal.
That's why I said you play like
tantamount
Zambia.
to nothing.
That's why I said the IRFM team, the brilliant team, IRFM football team played like Zambia.
And careful that you're not using the adjective brilliant.
Right.
You're not just bantering.
It's sarcasm.
I figured so. It's okay. I'm not going to take you on. Group B, yes. Tunisia leads 4 points. Congo second. Democratic Republic of Congo second on 2 points. Cape Verde third, 2 points. And Zambia at the bottom of the standings 1.
You see me, I tell you, man.
Seems as if you have a little soft spot for them.
No, I didn't even think Zambia would come anywhere in it, but because they played so well.
Oh,
because I watched the match and I thought, this is good. They're doing, and it was one of the exciting matches too. And then to see them lose it to Tunisia, and Tunisia has really looked like the only European team in the match. You see Tunisia?
Yes.
Very European.
For a minute, I wondered.
Arab, it's
Arab, yes. They have that kind of feature.
Yeah.
All right, Group A, last group, Congo, Gabon, Equatorial Guinea, and Burkina Faso. The host, Equatorial Guinea, sits in third place on 2 points. Gabon is in second on 3 points, and Congo leads the group with 4 points. Burkina Faso at the foot of the standings on 1.
Okay.
Yeah. So just like in the night football competition, RFM got off to a slow start. I'd use that word.
Yes.
But just like some other teams in this competition, we will bounce back.
Zambia, but I don't know who. But the bounce back is a thing, because if South Africa bounces back, then that would be good. Right. It would be a good look, and it also would be like a prognostication for Irie, whether or not you'll bounce back.
Right.
Well, let's see.
Because you saw, well, you have been out to matches, so you know when we touch the field. And our colours resonate well with spectators and people who can identify with us. We get the support. Yeah.
Well, I like the way the strident manner in which you're defending the IRFM colours.
Yes.
It works.
Okay.
Yeah. It feels good. It looks good.
Okay, but deep down, it's not really good.
No, I think the team has potential.
Right.
The potential lies in whether or not you'll train, because the team is very unhealthy.
No, things are now being exacerbated beyond the point where there is no defense.
Yeah.
The team.
So who is the coach?
Well, we don't have a coach per se, but myself and Nicholas from sports, we seem to work well in coordinating the units. Had training, got the cones, Cuban helped us. The football was out there, and we sent out some flyers, and we'll be sending out another flyer tomorrow as well to encourage everyone to come out.
And it's not a Tom Brady situation. The football was out there. The football was out there.
You mean Deflategate?
Deflategate.
Oh, no. Not at all.
Do you think that he knew that the ball was deflated?
Where that is concerned, I'm splitting up, because I tell you what, I understand that some quarterbacks, to answer the question specifically, I don't believe that New England, Belichick, Brady, or whoever on the New England franchise willingly made any intention or effort to cheat. Then the NFL is yet to put out a statement where the entire scenario is concerned. But there have been several sites and several television stations in the U.S. who have been pushing the case that 11 of the 12 balls used by the New England Patriots in that game were deflated. But the NFL, as I said before, is yet to put out an official statement. So before that, I'm just reserving judgment.
Yeah, I don't know the game well enough, but I'm thinking that, you know, if you once you catch a ball, once you hold it, you must say, well, no, man, but I want to feel like a soft.
Right.
The extent to which it was deflated. I'm thinking that at some point he knew.
And there is some reason to support that argument, but as I said before, I am not prepared to make a judgment, because when you read further on, it says that the ball boy handles the game balls, and whenever the referee calls the ball boy for a ball, he goes into the bag, pulls out one, and it is said that the ball bag or the ball is not monitored constantly or supervised.
So you're going to blame the ball boy?
No. I'm just putting that argument out there because it currently exists. But that in itself, too, is not a finality to say that it is definitive that the balls were deflated on purpose.
So. Well, not on purpose, but at some point, Brady knew. At some point, Brady knew.
And that's your judgment, and that's your opinion. But as I said,
that's my opinion.
It's just like, and before I run, just like the Bill Cosby case, that is now opening up an entire can of worms in the United States about the amount of women coming forward to say that they were drugged, molested, raped, and so on. But Bill Cosby haven't put out a statement definitively. He spoke in bits and pieces. So again, I'm reserving judgment.
Well,
because those cases could really exist. I'm not here to sit to judge to say that those women are lying or Bill Cosby is right. Not at all. But the gentleman hasn't put out an official statement.
Right, he has not denied or confirmed.
No,
and so,
right,
but that's a whole different thing.
That's a whole different thing, right.
Yeah. But, so thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am.
And we'll meet again. If not at Buckfield, then in Westmoreland.
In Westmoreland, definitely.
Or he doesn't have a clue me at all.
Yes, ma'am.
Or the weekend for Peter Tosh.
Right.
All right.
Peter Tosh
or if not in Westmoreland, then in 9 Miles.
In 9 Miles.
The spiritual home of Bob Marley.
That's right.
There you go.
That is February 6th.
6 and 8.
And 8, okay.
Right, we're broadcasting live on 8. And then if not in 9 Miles, then in Manchester. That is where we go in search of Jacob Miller.
Okay.
All right. So we're on the road again.
We're on the road.
Yes.
All right. Catch you later.
All right. 18 minutes now after 9 o'clock, you're inside of the Africa Forum.
Hide nothing from the masses of the people. Tell no lies. Expose lies whenever they are told. Mask no difficulties, mistakes, failures. Claim no easy victory.
In terms of an update on the situation with Winnifred Beach, the UDC recently took out an ad in the newspaper, which you have read, I'm quite sure. What are the main points in that ad that you find, by the way of an update, troublesome?
Well, I was quite astonished, I tell you the truth, because I have seen the statement. UDC must have spent a huge amount of money to buy one full page on the Glen. And there were several things in that statement which are not correct. Because the first one, first of all, I would say I have to congratulate with the UDC for the total lack of dialogue. Because we have been trying to mediate, trying to contact them. We heard that they want to come and have a meeting with us. Nothing like that happened. The only thing happened is a huge page with a big statement, which is basically saying that they are the solely owners. They are not feeling like confronted with anybody. I am very shocked about that, because community has been mobilizing for years. IRFM has been supporting, G-Jam has been supporting, Trident, a whole heap of entities have been discussing the future of Winnifred Beach. And from the other side, I don't hear not even a sound. The other thing which is deeply, I say deeply disturbing me, is that they write that, yeah, it was a public beach, nobody was disputing that. Did they forget that they come to Port Antonio some years ago to have a public meeting, and they were showing the audience their project for a resort that has nothing to do with the public beach? The fact that we have a public beach is due to the fact that we, the people in the area, the Winnifred Beach Benevolent Society, has been mobilizing for 7 long years. And the other thing which is heavily disturbing me is when they say so-called locals, so-called Free Winnifred Benevolent Society are illegal. We are not illegal. We are legally down there working at the beach to keep the beach clean and safe and beautiful for everybody, which is something which has not been done through the years by nobody else. And that is really disturbing because there's a total lack of respect towards the people which are working there.
So let me get this, Carla. Since the ruling by the court that this is a public beach, the Winnifred Beach Benevolent Society, the interested parties, there's been no meeting with the UDC.
Not at all. And if you remember, the court case ended up asking the UDC within 90 days to present back to court a new land title with the beach, which has been taken from the rest of the property and becoming forever a public beach. I am not aware that they did it. I am keeping investigating with the attorney. The attorney told me that she's not aware that they sent anything. I don't know if they did it. Tomorrow I'm going to go myself to the courthouse and try to see if I can get some answers.
But as it stands now, as far as we know, the UDC has not complied with the ruling of a court in terms of the documents.
I am not sure, and I don't want to say yes or no if I don't know exactly if they did it.
All right.
But according to the lawyer, she didn't see anything at all. So
right.
I will go and look.
All right,
but the other thing is, excuse me, Andrea, but today I am really upset. They advocate that they want to build restaurants and blah, blah. It's in the statement, right? But why do they want to sell other properties? There are a lot of properties from UDC, including Rich Falls, which are on sale. They cannot manage them? Question. They don't have the money to manage them? Second question. Do they make any money out of them? Third question. And in all of that, they want to take over Winnifred Beach.
So that going off the full page ad that has been taken out in the newspaper and it's published already, I think it was published late last week.
Wednesday.
Yeah. It seems to me as if it's almost confrontational in a way, and I don't know if I'm wrong, because the last time I spoke with the general manager of UDC, he said to me that he was going to be scheduling a meeting with the Winnifred Benevolent Society for late this month. But that meeting...
Well, it must be very late, because until now we didn't get any invitation, any notice, anything, any communication.
But the next action we are seeing from the UDC is a full-page ad, which really is a confrontational situation, which refers to the people who are currently on the beach as what?
As illegal people on the beach.
Let me ask Cynthia. Cynthia, what's your response to what has happened with the full-page ad and what the UDC is now saying?
Good morning again, listener. As I said, we have done part 1, and now it's part 2. So at this moment, because when they had came out, people been questioning, and they have been coming to me saying how you people have won the beach and why UDC put this ad into the greener. Again, I said, remember, we have done part 1, so this is where we are going to do part 2. And you remember we had a 90 days for UDC to have a meeting with us. UDC has never had a meeting with us. The only meeting we had once was in Port Antonio Marina, and we did not get a result from it. And each time we tried to do our best by out there in the public and doing our part. They are not coming up to say what they are saying or to say anything to us. So we are like, don't know, as I said again, we do not trust them. They are afraid. I don't know why they are not coming, have a meeting with us, because we are waiting on them. And now they did this paper now where people have been questioning. You know, so it has been puzzling. And even though they do this dip ad in the Gleaner, they still don't call nobody or say anything to nobody.
So basically, what the Benevolent Society and the people on the Winnifred Beach and the principals and people who have an interest in the Winnifred Beach, the next thing from the court ruling is that there's an ad in the paper from the UDC, in essence saying, you know, dance as you want to dance, talk as you want to talk. The UDC owns the beach, and we're going to do what we're going to do with the beach.
Exactly.
Exactly. That's it. Simple as that.
That's it.
And at this point, I don't want to look negative, but I don't know if they decided one of those days to come down with the bulldozer and dig out everything. I cannot say yes, I cannot say no. But I know that there will be a real rebellion in the area if something like this is going to happen.
Yeah, it is sad for me. I find it extremely sad and extremely disappointing. When I spoke with
extremely disrespectful.
And extremely disrespectful, yes, because the manager told me
labeled as a bunch of illegal people. We are not illegal. We are trying to fight.
Yes.
We are trying to stand. We are working on the beach. We are working. And they do not move one finger, right?
Yes, and Mr. Malcolm assured me, when I spoke with Mr. Malcolm 2 weeks ago, he assured me that the next step from here was to meet with the people on Winnifred Beach.
Exactly, and that's what we are waiting on. We are waiting on the meeting. Yes. Come on as a meeting with us, even if it is negative, but let me know where we stand, what is going on. And that is the thing about it.
Yes, to me, this is really a slap in the face. But so where do we go from here? What happens next, Carla?
What happens next is that we are trying to strengthen up our elbows because, as Cynthia before said, this is part 2. When the beach was said that it would have been public, everybody got very excited and said, "Wow, you won." We didn't win. We just made one step, right? Which is a good step. But on the other hand, we were knowing that the second part, the second half, would have been who is going to control around the beach for the community, for the tourists, for Jamaicans, for everybody. And here we are. The attempt to have a dialogue has been totally a failure, because if I see an ad like this, the ad basically tell me, this is my beach, do what you want to do, I don't care about you.
Mm-hmm. It is a sad situation.
We will have to fight.
We have to dig our heels in. I think we have to dig our heels in, and we have to...
Exactly.
Yes, go ahead, Cynthia.
That's exactly what we need to do. And I don't know, if they heard this morning and if somebody hear us, they may consider and say, okay, go, let's have a meeting, call up. You understand what I mean? We do our part. Come in with your part. And this has been struggling to people now, because the goodness of good part was when we have done part 1, people were congratulating all over the world. People was happy. You understand? So now, and I explain and I tell them that we are waiting now to hear from UDC. We can go ahead and do our thing, you know. But as a respect still, we need to hear from them.
What would you want to say, Cynthia, to the UDC right now, to the chairman of the UDC, Mr. K.D. Knight, and the general manager of the UDC, Mr. Malcolm? What would you want to say to the UDC?
I'm saying, I know they're upset with us, and yes, we understand that part. But what we are saying, as a people and as a group, as what they call us, we need some... we respect them a lot, very much, but we need them to come in, have a meeting with us, talk to, even though we are nothing in their side, but at least show a little respect to us. Because all these years, I've been down there over 22 years, and doing all this to the beach, keeping the beach up to date like that, struggling, all these things, we're going to clean it, maintain it, everything. They never come one time and say, okay, we appreciate what you people are doing, and we're going to have a meeting with you. We're going to come to some agreement. We're asking, please, we're asking them, come, have a meeting with us, talk to us people. Let me know where we stand. You know, it's a new year. We need to see something going. We have a lot of plans for the beach, and we cannot make a move until we hear from them. So I'm asking this morning, and I'm kindly come have a meeting with us. We are prepared to have it with you. We are waiting. So that's what I have to say this morning.
Akala, what would you want to say to the UDC?
I would not be as kind as Cynthia. I would tell them that they say that they are an agency for the people in Jamaica. I see them haggling against the people in Jamaica. Because first of all, if you are working with the people, you have a dialogue with them, which is not happening. Second thing, if they see and know that for...
Yes, go ahead, Carla. Hello? Yes, Carla? Oh, Cynthia, you still there?
Yes, I'm still here.
All right, I'm going to wrap up with you because I think we have lost Carla and we're totally out of time. But really, I hear you asking for dialogue. I hear you reaching out to the UDC to come there and have a meeting. This is where we are now. What if the UDC doesn't meet? What do you do?
Well, if they doesn't, we are going to go ahead and do what we have to do. We just have to go ahead because the public people are ready to help us, back us up. So we need to make a start. First, we have the road, which is the most important part. Because people complain about the road, they complain the road. And we need to make a start. So at this moment, if they doesn't, then we have one to go ahead, do what we have to do. And if they come on us, we just have to prepare to stand up.
All right.
But I'm saying this morning, I'm not going to back down, and I know there's support out there for me that we will never back down. It's a public beach, it's a free beach, and I think the public needs Winnifred is one of the only beaches in Jamaica that people can come and have free access and enjoy themselves, and we are not going to allow them to come and make a resort at Winnifred Beach. No time.
And block the people out. Thank you so much, Cynthia. Thank you so much, Carla.
Yeah, you're welcome, Angie. All right? Good.
All right.
Speak truth to the people. To identify the enemy is to free the mind. Free the mind of the people. Speak to the mind of the people. Speak truth.
When the UDC takes out an ad in the newspaper that is essentially against the people, who pays for the ad? Is it the people who pay? Is it the people who pays for the ad that is taken out essentially against them? Is it the people who pays for the ad? This is a question that I want answered. Who pays for the ad, the full page ad in the newspaper taken out by the UDC? The ad that essentially defeats the people. Who pays for the ad? Do we pay for our own oppression? Is that what we've come to? You put your boots in our necks and we pay for it? Is that how it is? We pay you for that? France did it to Haiti. Belgium did it to the Congo. Britain continues to do it to the entire Caribbean. The oppressed has become the oppressor. Who pays for the ad? It's time now for the bottom line. And we want to talk about China in the bottom line this morning. Yes, again. The bottom line is that to understand China's relationship with Jamaica, we must interrogate China's engagement with Africa. And the most glaring indication yet lies in the little reported fact that China has completely deviated from its long-cherished foreign policy of non-interference in countries in which it is expanding and has now called out its army, placing some 700 combat troops on the ground on the continent of Africa. The bottom line is that China has always stridently refused to get involved in domestic troubles in other developing countries. And as you know, has instead insisted on focusing on its economic interests in those countries, regardless of the social or political climate. However, as China expands its geopolitical and economic stake in far-flung regions of the world, it has increasingly resembled a traditional global power. The bottom line is that according to China state media, the Chinese army, which has been deployed to South Sudan, the first Chinese infantry battalion deployed to Africa, is solely to protect China's vast economic interests in South Sudan, in Africa. That said, the bottom line is that this army, China's army in Africa, is heavily fitted out, heavily equipped. In fact, China state media reports that the battalion is equipped with drones, armored carriers, anti-tank missiles, mortars, and other weapons. The 700-strong infantry battalion includes 121 officers and 579 soldiers and an infantry squad composed of 13 female soldiers. And China state media is at pains to report that this well-equipped infantry battalion to Africa is completely for self-defense purposes to protect China's interests in Africa. Bearing in mind that China has always said that it will not deploy an army to any country in which it is operating or expanding. Analysts observing China's engagement with Africa are focused on the extent to which this latest move by China seems to announce a new era in the way China is engaging with Africa, including sinologists who have been very vocal about the Africa Rising phenomenon. The bottom line is that there are lessons for Jamaica in this latest move by China, even as the government of Jamaica seeks to make Goat Island, massive parts of the Rio Bueno and Duns River watershed areas, the Roaring River watershed and Laughing Waters available to China at the expense of Jamaicans and against Jamaica's best interests. The bottom line is that this massive deployment of combat troops to Africa does indeed run contrary to China's foreign policy of we don't interfere. In fact, it's an enormous renunciation of that policy of non-interference. The bottom line is that for China, the change in policy was inevitable. Inevitable in its engagement with Africa, as Africans begin to challenge the extent to which their land is being grabbed by Asian and Western plunderers, and by extrapolation, inevitable in its engagement with the Caribbean, Latin America, inevitable in Jamaica, in its engagement with the Caribbean, Latin America, inevitable in Jamaica. You see, it comes down to interest. Economic interest, energy security interests, land interests, water interests, mineral interests, agricultural interests. China has poured billions and billions of dollars into African countries, South Sudan, Angola, Nigeria, South Africa, Zambia, Ghana, you name it. So many resources that it's almost baffling. And China is pouring billions and billions of dollars in the Caribbean. Billions and billions of dollars in Jamaica. The bottom line is that, as the analysts rightly argue, this deployment of its infantry battalion to Africa is a shift in China's realpolitik. You just can't talk all the time and not carry a big stick. The army, which has been deployed, 700 strong, is a big stick. And China has finally come to that realization. The question then is, how much longer before another 700 strong, heavily armed infantry battalion is deployed to Jamaica to protect China's economic interests in Jamaica, China's land interests in Jamaica, China's water interests in Jamaica? Think it is far-fetched? Ask any African country. How long before China deploys its troops to Jamaica to protect its interests in a crime-infested country, where Commissioner Williams and others have already been cautioned by the Chinese ambassador to Jamaica to protect China's migrants, or else? The bottom line is that China has now joined U.S. AFRICOM, U.S. Africa Command in Africa. China has now joined Israel and Mossad, France and the French army as major players plundering Africa with military might, and is very likely to challenge the CBSI initiative, the Caribbean Basin Security Initiative, in the Caribbean waters as the U.S. plays friendly with Cuba. Don't think that U.S. turn around and about face in its engagement with Cuba is not directly related to China's engagement with the Caribbean. A 2011 report by the NGO Safer World found that despite its stated neutrality, and this is something that we've been looking at seriously, China is gradually using diplomatic means to push for the resolution of certain conflicts in Africa. How are they doing it in Jamaica? We're yet to find out. Here in Jamaica, we have seen that diplomacy at work, as our commissioners of police are seemingly obliged to walk about with China's ambassador to Jamaica in a humiliating show of commitment to protect China's migrants to Jamaica. The report also said that the Asian power is becoming a major supplier of conventional arms to African states and has increased its contribution to the United Nations peacekeeping missions 20-fold since 2000, with the majority based on the continent of Africa. The bottom line is that to understand and predict China's relationship with Jamaica, we must interrogate China's engagement with Africa. Is China a development partner? Is China an economic competitor? Or is China a colonizer in Africa? The bottom line is that from all indications, China is emerging as an economic competitor and a colonizer in Africa. China is an economic competitor and a colonizer in Jamaica. We must call it what it is. Without violence and without suing, but in the quiet dignity of our conversations. We first must identify what China's relationship with Jamaica is. Call it what it is to determine how we engage with China. That's the bottom line. As we're saying goodbye for today, we just want to remind you, though, that April, the month of April, is a book club month on IRI FM. It means that all the books that we've been reading in the book club, we'll be trying to discuss as many of them as possible with as many of the authors as possible. So if your book has been in and you know your book has been in for some time, then this is the time to listen out. And then if you've been reading with us in the book club, then this is the time to listen out also. The Africa Forum Book Club will be reading, discussing the books in April. Until next week, let me say thanks to all those who participated in the program this morning. Thanks to the fishermen from the fisher folk from Fisherman's Beach here in Rios. Thanks so much to Carla Gulato and Cynthia Miller of Winnifred Beach. And thanks to all those who participated on many, many different levels inside of the program this morning. To my broadcast assistant, Shamara Preston, for making way now for the big A inside of a Sunday sunshine. My name is Kabo Ma'at-Keru. Next week, it's Dennis Brown Day, all day on IRI FM. And we'll see you in Orange Street, corner of Orange Street and Charles Street, with Bob Clark, Memories, coming live from Big Yard next week, Sunday. Walk good. Take care.